What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Decided to do something a little different today. So I'm doing a tail of two butts, not what you think. It's gonna be two pork butts and they are pretty much identical. One is 8.88 pounds, one's 8.89 pounds from the same store. They're basically twins. So I had some ideas on how I wanted to do this. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do like a dry brine versus a wet brine, or if I wanted to do one in the pellet smoker, one on the electric upright smoker. It dawned on me, not everybody has a smoker for 100,000 different reasons. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one on the smoker and I'm gonna do one in the crock pot. They're gonna be pretty similar. Some mild differences, because obviously you're doing one in a crock pot, one in a smoker. And then we're gonna kind of see the difference at the end. They're both gonna be tender, they're both gonna be juicy, they're both gonna be really good. But I thought it'd just kind of be fun to do it like that. The smoker's prepped and warming up. I got the crock pot on, so I'm gonna get these prepped and we'll go from there. So like I said, I'm gonna keep these similar, but not identical or anything like that. I'm gonna score them with a knife on the fat cap side. You notice this fat cap isn't huge. It's not really thick. I don't tend to trim the fat caps on pork butts very often. They would have to be pretty thick for me to trim them. I usually don't. This is just avocado oil. You could use olive oil. I didn't want to use mustard because the one going in the crock pot, I definitely wasn't gonna put mustard as the binder, so I just used oil. This is Sucklebusters Honey BBQ seasoning. I'm just going to do it on both of them all over. The one going in the crock pot, you don't necessarily need to season the pork butt because you're not like creating a bark or anything in the crock pot. For the one that's going in the crock pot, however, slice up one large yellow onion. We're going to slice all this up and we're going to lay it in the bottom of the crock pot just so the pork has a bed to kind of set on to keep it off of the bottom so it doesn't burn. Also, that onion's gonna give it a pretty good flavor. Once you get the onion down, put the pork butt in there, and I just take about a cup or so of beef broth and I just kind of pour it around the outside of that pork butt. I don't necessarily pour it over the top. It doesn't really matter, I guess, but just around the outside. This is gonna go on low for a minimum of 8 hours. Now to the smoker. I've got the smoker setting at 200 degrees, and this has been in there honestly about an hour. And I'm going to spritz it with apple cider, not apple cider vinegar, apple cider. And as it glazes over, it just makes it look so good. I mean, you can look at that glaze, it just looks amazing. At an hour and a half in the crock pot, this thing's gonna be pretty tender, and I'm gonna add a little bit of apple cider into this as well, probably about a cup. Back to the smoker. So after about an hour at 200, I upped the temperature to 250 just to cook it a little faster until the internal gets to about 160 degrees. Once that pork butt in the smoker gets to around 160, I go ahead and make this. This is just a little braising liquid that we're gonna put in a pan to finish the smoke up. That's just some butter, a little bit of garlic. This is some more beef broth. I'd say cup and a half of beef broth, and then this is apple cider again, maybe about a cup. And you're just gonna bring that up to a simmer. Stir it really well, bring it to a simmer. Once it's to a simmer, pull it directly off the heat. Now we're back to our pork butt in the smoker. This thing looks pretty incredible. I spritzed it about every 30 to 40 minutes with apple cider, and it just makes it look so good. It has such a good glaze on it. I put it in a pan after that. This is going to kind of braise the rest of the way as I cook it, and I just pour all that liquid I made into the bottom of the pan. After I get it all poured in, I just put some more of this Sucklebusters Honey BBQ Rub just back on top of the pork butt again, just a little more seasoning before I throw it back in the smoker. I'm going to put this back in at about 250 degrees for the rest of the way. This is just me putting some temperature probes inside the meat. Just know that if you put that apple cider in there, don't raise the temperature too much. 250 at the most. I wouldn't go 300 or more because you'll burn the sugar that's inside that apple cider and you'll have a big old mess. You don't want to do that. Back to the crock pot. Once you hit an internal of 200 degrees, that's the key number for a pulled pork. Every time for me is 200 degrees internal. It is going to be fall apart tender. Watch me pull this bone out. Literally no effort. I mean, it just came right out. I'm gonna get some tongs and just kind of show you. I tried to pick this up out of here. I knew it wasn't going to. It just split right in half, fell right apart. it's going to be incredibly tender at 200 degrees internal. That is the key number. I did manage to get it out in a couple of big pieces, and you can just see how tender it is. I'm literally just shredding it, you know, with the end of some tongs. Here's the end result of it shredding up. I moved my one that was on the smoker to the oven at 250 degrees because I was running low on pellets and it wasn't going to take on any smoke anyway. So yeah, the bark on that looked insane. This was really good. Same thing. This bone gave me a little bit more trouble, but still pulled out pretty darn good. I'd say that's a successful cook right there if you can pull the bone out that easy. And again, super tender. I mean, so tender. Both of them. The one on the smoker, I cooked same temperature to 200 degrees. The one in the crock pot, 200 degrees internal. That's always my number. Now, this is optional. I know there's going to be people saying, if you make a pulled pork, it doesn't need barbecue sauce if it's cooked right. I will put barbecue sauce on anything. If I was making this for the neighbors or something, I wouldn't sauce it up like that, but this is for me. This is what they looked like at the end. So that's the braised. The other one is the smoked. Both of these were amazing. I had a little taste tester that volunteered, and he's going to kind of give me a taste test. So here's the barbecue. I'm pretty sure he liked that one. I think he was pretty content with that one. And then here's kind of the more braised pulled pork. It's not barbecue. It's more onion flavored. It tasted amazing. He was a fan, but really and truly, his favorite part is not the pulled pork. It is the shoulder bone that I pulled out. Yeah, he's going to go have fun with that. And there you have it. Tell the two butts. This was pretty fun, kind of a little different thing to do. So down here, if I were to choose a favorite one, it'd be really difficult because kind of the braised pulled pork with the onion and stuff, I would put that on a taco and eat that all day long before the barbecue. But the barbecue, I would definitely put with queso, chips and queso, all that stuff. So they both have their pros and cons. The braised took about 8 hours, a little over 8 hours in the crock pot on low. The smoked pulled pork, even with up in the temperature, took 12 hours to cook. So kind of pros and cons of each one. They're both tasted really good, and I'm not disappointed in either one of them. Hope you enjoyed the video. God bless, and as always, we'll see you on the next one.